Well, hello. I am so excited to welcome you to another edition of the Sizzling Hot Marriage Show with yours truly, Joe Filetta Jr. I am just thrilled that you have joined us. I'm also thrilled to have a special guest with us today, and that is Mrs. Arrettres Hollins, the wife coach. Welcome to the show, Arrettres.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me. I feel honored to be available for you and here to be on your show. This is an awesome opportunity.
Well, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for showing up. Arrettres Hollins is the founder of Connecting Love and Marriage and the Elite and Empowered Wife. She earned her degree in psychology and is certified mental health coach. As a certified teacher, speaker, and faith-based relationship consultant, Arrettres helps confident wives that excel at work and ministry but struggle in their marriage because of the uncertainty created by their husband's affair. She is gifted at discerning the root of unresolved problems while addressing overlooked red flags. This enables wives to experience success at home and in their marriage. Her superpower is empowering wives to experience the divine clarity and healing needed to reconcile with their husbands. What an awesome work. As a wife, mother, and daughter of the King, Arrettres uses her gifts to inspire and encourage women to grow spiritually, practice self-care, and build a marriage you adore. Yes, you can experience endless love and marriage with your hubby. Awesome. So thankful for you, Arrettres. Glad you could be with us on the show today. So, Arrettres, wife coach? I don't think I've ever heard of a wife coach. Please explain what a wife coach is.
A wife coach is just like most coaches are. They're there to support. They're there to guide. They're there to help you overcome obstacles that you might not see because of blind spots or triggers, or basically just help you experience and get to a goal faster than you would on your own.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I mean, how did you get into this?
Oh my.
Coaching women.
Well, it's nothing but God. It's always been my passion to help women experience happily ever after and experience a marriage they adore. So many women are suffering in silence and just taking whatever life throws at them. And, we don't have to live or experience a marriage of defeat. We can actually feel like we're in love and experience the marriage that you've dreamt about before you said, I do.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, it's been about maybe 5 years now, officially on the books.
5 years that you've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That is phenomenal. And you what were you doing before?
Oh, I was just coaching. Well, basically, my specialty has always been some form of therapy or recovery, but I really honed in on working with just women and wives, and then I just kept narrowing it down to infidelity, since that's the one clause that just kept coming up over time. So just narrowing it on down to infidelity only.
Okay. Well, infidelity, I mean, what's so significant about that? Why did you land on infidelity?
Well, one of the reasons is because society makes it seem so acceptable, and having a mistress or having a side piece, and what you see on reality TV is that once they cheat, it's over. And that can be the case for some, but there are many marriages that can be restored, and restored even better than it was before, if the two people are willing to put in the work necessary to make it happen. So I
Hmm.
just kind of got tired of what society was throwing out there, and really help women trust God to do the work needed to get them to their happily ever after.
Okay. So you believe that there's hope after infidelity for couples.
There's definitely hope. There's when two people are willing to put in the work. And that's one of the disclaimers when working with me. The husband has to now be at a place of repentance and no longer in those streets. Now, if he's still in those streets, my belief is there's nothing that we can do until he decides that he no longer wants to be out there. And many men, when they make the mistake, they say, you know what, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it. And I want to do all that I can to get the marriage back to where it needs to be. But even with him doing that, sometimes it's hard for a wife to say, okay, let me jump into the marriage and restore it confidently with you. So when the husband is turned back to the marriage and saying, I want to put all that I can into this, and he's dedicated and committed to putting in the work, then it's easy for me to work with the wife and say, okay, here's what we do. Here's how we heal. Here's how we reconnect to get you back to where you want to be.
It's awesome. I mean, this sounds like something personal to you. You have a personal experience with
Yes.
this?
Unfortunately, from the time I was young, I've experienced infidelity in some way, either through my watching my dad or other relatives, watching adults. My ex also cheated on me. So in some way, I've experienced infidelity, and it's always been some kind of like this dark cloud that no one addresses, and no one is helping women really get to the healing part of. It's just always this dark secret in the back of the house that no one wants to talk about, but it has to be addressed in order to heal from it. If it's just a shameful secret that no one's talking about, then no one's going to heal from it and no one can grow from it. But I believe that through God and through the process of allowing the healing to happen, you can definitely recover from this and thrive after it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Why do people cheat, Arrettres?
Oh God.
What's your answer to that?
There's so many reasons why. The number one reason is selfish. They want to tend to their own selfish desires right now in the moment. They don't want to communicate and work through the hard part. It's never, sometimes they'll say it's because the wife fell apart, or the wife gained weight, or she didn't give him enough sex, or that's all a lie. That's all a myth. I'm big on debunking all the myths. It has nothing to do with the woman and her appearance or her inability to cook well or give enough sex, because through all of that, we're supposed to be able to communicate. So if you want more sex from your wife, you should be able to have a conversation with her as a rational adult and say, okay, honey, I desire X, Y, and Z from you. Can we see if this is something that we can develop in the relationship? Because we're here to serve each other. When my husband has desires, it's part of my I should want to do things that would please him. And same thing with him. If I have desires, I should be able to communicate those desires to him. But unfortunately, people are having desires and they're not going to their spouse regarding those desires. They're just wanting to fulfill their desires and their selfish whims on their own outside of the marriage.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you think it's just selfishness at the end of the day, and not thinking about somebody else, just thinking about yourself. That's pretty much what you see it as? Okay, I mean,
That's pretty much it. And if you look at it spiritually, it's from a broken relationship with God also. There's a natural aspect of it, and then there's a spiritual aspect. The stronger your relationship is with God, the more likely you are to not sin, to not do things to harm your marriage. So the stronger your relationship is with God, the more communication you have with him, you may see the temptation, but you're going to resist the temptation because you don't want to dishonor your relationship with God.
Mm-hmm. And so is that kind of the direction you go in helping women? Tell me about how you help women to forgive. I mean, it happens to men too. Women cheat on their husbands as well, right? That healing thing is something you can really be angry about it and hurt and really questioning. What did I do? Did something I did wrong? How do you what's your first, give me your steps. What are your steps and your stages in helping women through this healing process?
The first thing is empowering them to actually own what they're feeling. As Christian women, we're taught all the wonderful cliches of you can't be angry, you have to forgive, you have to be loving. And no one, it's very rare that people are giving you the opportunity to say, okay, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I don't trust him, I don't want to be with him. So the first part is owning what you're feeling, allowing you to process your feelings, not dwell in that place, not stay there, but so that the enemy can now move in and add to the frustration, but allow you to feel the anger, allow you to express yourself in a way to where you are not, you don't feel ashamed. Because once again, as Christian women, you know, we have to be this Proverbs woman, and she's always on. She's always, you know, we're good at wearing the facade, but not dealing with the true heart of it. So the first thing is, yes, you're entitled to be angry. Yes, you're entitled to be frustrated. Yes, there'll be times when you're sad. Yes, there'll be times when you feel you'll question your own identity as a woman and as a wife. And then it's helping you navigate through those steps. Okay, you feel this way. Now let's get you to a place of light. Let's get you to a place where you can actually move out of this place. And next, you know, you asked about forgiveness. Forgiveness is necessary, but we have to understand there's a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. You have to forgive because biblically, that's what God wants us to do. Whenever someone does do something against us, whether it's infidelity or, you know, they offend you in some way, we're supposed to forgive them because that's what God has instructed us to do. Now, reconciliation is completely different. Reconciliation is a journey. That's a process of rebuilding trust, of rebuilding the relationship, of establishing boundaries, you know, of addressing no matter what actually happened and why. So reconciliation is different. So once you separate the two for women, it makes them easier to realize. It makes it easier for them to realize that forgiveness is actually for you. It takes the burden and it takes the weight of the pain off of you and places it into the hands of God. You no longer have to hold on to what was done, because sometimes when we do that, we also carry the blame of it. So when we're holding unforgiveness, we're also holding the blame and what I could have done to prevent it and what I should have done to prevent it. We want to let go of all of that. That has nothing to do with you. He did what he did because he chose to do it. It has nothing to do with what the wife has done.
That's wonderful. How long does it take a woman to?
It depends. It depends on when they found out about the infidelity, how long it happened, if it was one person or two people, numerous people. It depends on them as an individual, because some women, I've noticed that the strong-willed woman is harder for her because she's so in control. There's a need of control that's necessary, which is understandable. But helping them to get through that need for control in every aspect of the marriage, because strong-willed women, when a husband cheats, they now go into, now I must control everything so that I don't get hurt again. So helping them navigate through that. And so to answer the question, it depends on the female. I've had women who go through the program. Actually, honestly, in my coaching, even our first session, light bulbs are turning on for them and they're feeling the weight lift off of them. Complete restoration, special not scientists, but therapists and people in my field say anywhere from 1 to 2 years it could take to completely restore marriage. And that's normally based on the recovery of the wife and her ability to heal, and the husband's ability to do what's necessary, because trust is rebuilt on his end, not on her. He has to rebuild trust.
That's beautiful. That you're able to help them take that load off, because I just know that's a heavy load to carry, and to have somebody to help you carry it. And what a blessing, who's been there, who has helped other women to get through it. Wow, that's just that's just great. And so I'm just grateful for people like you who are, making yourself available for 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 women to help them in such a very stressful time. I mean, how many marriages don't make it, you know, through something like this?
There's many, unfortunately, because they also don't have the support. Infidelity is that secret shame that no one talks about. There are more women who've experienced infidelity than we know of because no one wants to talk about it. It's their own. They take it and carry it as their secret shame. When I'm in all honesty, this was done to you. It's not something you did, so you don't have to carry that pain. So if more people would be honest about what they've experienced, we would actually realize that we're not alone. There's more women out there suffering, and that's the thing. The enemy wants to isolate us. When women have experienced infidelity, one of his main jobs is to isolate you and make you feel like you're alone, like you're the only person that's ever gone through this. If you stay, you're a fool because every other woman on TV, social media has left. And that's all a myth. That's a lie. There are more women that have experienced. There's women who need support. They need a group of women or someone that can hold their hand to remind them, no, you're not crazy. Yes, God can restore your marriage. No, you're not stupid for trusting that God can restore your marriage and that your husband is fully committed now.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that a lot. Um, you know, I feel like you're making a fool. Making a fool of me. Should I continue to deal with you and you're making a fool of me? So you really help them through that. How do you help them through that?
It's a lot of first you have to become very self-aware of where you are when those thoughts come up. The Bible tells us to take captive every thought, and that process alone, when you've mastered the art of, okay, is this God or is this the enemy trying to distract me? Am I dealing with actual facts that are present right now? Is the behavior is he actually literally doing something? Am I conjuring something up in my own head or rehearsing what was already done? Now, remember, we're talking about women and couples whose husband has turned back to the marriage. We're not talking about Charlie still out in the streets and he trying to make you feel, like you're crazy. No, we're talking about men who are now committed. They have now gone back into the place of being the man that God created them to be, the husband that God created them to be. So it's a lot of let's deal with what we're seeing right now. Let's control those thoughts. Are those past thoughts that you're now bringing into the present, or is this going on right now? And just teaching them how to see what's going on now. Because sometimes we get stuck in that season of infidelity, mentally and emotionally. And it's just bringing them to of, okay, now we're here now. This is where we are. We're not going back there. Look at his behavior now. Let's look at what he's actually doing. Are his words aligned with his actions? It's a lot of being very self-aware and being in tune with what's going on around you without and identifying, okay, that's the enemy talking to me. Because he's going to throw things in there to make you say, see, you're dumb, you're stupid, you shouldn't have stayed with him. That's his job. The enemy's job is to create divorce any way that he can. It doesn't matter. That's what he hates marriage because marriage represents the love of God.
Right.
Husbands are to love wives the way that Christ loved the church. Like that's the greatest love ever.
Yeah.
So if marriage is going to represent that, of course, the enemy is going to do everything he can to eliminate marriage. He does not want non-believers to look at us and say, I want to be like them. He wants non-believers to look at us and say, see, they're just as bad as us. So why would I get saved? Why would I serve this God if you're in your situation is worse than mine? So going through that and just really becoming very self-aware of what's going on around you.
This is a good topic, and I'd love to continue. Our time is short, but one last question for you. When, obviously there are problems. First of all, when you're talking about this whole thing of trying to get them to get out of their head and to work through these tempting thoughts that the devil has put into their heads, it's like spiritual warfare. It sounds like you're really going to battle with them against evil and evil thoughts. Obviously an affair, addiction, or whatever it is, can be a very evil thing. And so when evil comes into your home, into your family, into your marriage, in that circle, man, the devil, has the ability to turn off all the light. There's this darkness. And so it sounds like you get in there and you're really trying to, fight with that devil, boy, as he's trying to get them down. You're trying to pick them up. Wow, what a beautiful, wonderful work. Now that affair is usually the result, the outcome of many years of unresolved issues in that marriage. Would you agree with me?
Yes.
And that doesn't always happen that way. Some people, obviously, affairs happen, while you're dating, and as soon as you get married. But in general, I think most people enter into that union with the best intentions.
Definitely.
Right? So, but these issues oftentimes open the door, make one vulnerable to, entertaining other people. You work with just a woman. I know that the man is willing to restore the marriage. He's willing to forgive. How do you? I mean, there's still issues, right? That are. How do you, when you hear the woman's perspective, you don't talk to the men, right? So how do you, just talking to that woman, help them, help the marriage and those issues?
It's amazing how God works. And honestly, my mind gets blown constantly by watching and hearing what the wives are saying that they see is going on in their marriage. God has a way of speaking to the husbands and healing the husbands, and the way, because I also help them with communication, how to communicate effectively, how to resolve conflict in a way so that he can hear. So we don't just deal with healing. We deal with, all of the aspects that can now be triggered negatively while you're restoring the marriage. So one is, how to deal with that conflict. You need to talk to your husband about something that happened. How do you have that conversation with him? And what normally happens is, as the wife is going through her healing and going through her journey and learning how to just embody who she wants to be as a wife, the husbands naturally start to evolve too. Now, of course, with some of the relationships, I do encourage them to have marriage counseling where the two go together. Marriage counseling is a wonderful thing. I love everything about it. My only concern is sometimes in marriage counseling, wives are not able to comfortably say all that they want to say. With me, it's a safe place, say all the things. Yeah. Because the thing is, even though our husband has hurt and done this great betrayal, wives are so loyal. They do not want to shame their husband in front of someone else. They will not want to, they're still kind of hesitant. And I don't want to say this because it's going to make him mad. I don't want to say, because they're so concerned about him and his emotions. Women are amazing creatures, but we're still concerned about our husband and him still feeling, some kind of way. So I encourage wives, always have your own counseling, coaching, therapy, which is normally with me. And then when it comes to the marriage counseling, you go together so that you both are able to get those tools together that you need. I used to offer that for women, but my passion really is, well, I used to offer that for couples, but my passion really is helping the wives. And God has shown me through all of the clients that I've worked with, how it trickles off, what I'm teaching trickles off into the marriage and starts to transform the husband. And like you mentioned earlier, spiritual warfare, that's part of my coaching, and praying, covering your husband, blessing the home. You know, when you take captive and you take control of your home spiritually, everyone under the roof must be transformed. That's just the way it is. That's awesome. So you brought up an amazing point. Thank you. Yes, it does affect the husband. It does trickle off. And with those couples who need more help, I suggest they go to marriage counseling. But normally, you know, God just comes in and does what he does.
Yeah. I mean, I'm listening to you. I mean, I know our time is up, but I'm just like, you are really the husband's advocate. Okay. It's amazing because you're able, you know, without the husband in the room, you know what that husband is thinking. You know what how her thoughts are not helping the situation. And so it's amazing how, you know, how much help that you can offer that marriage just by, you know, talking her off the ledge, if you please. Yes. Beautiful. Arrettres Hollins, thank you so much for coming on the Sizzling Hot Marriage Show. This is, I know folks who are blessed from what you've shared today. And how can folks, you have something to offer, something you want to give away to the audience so they can learn more?
Yes, I have I created a guide, the comprehensive guide to confidently restore your marriage after infidelity. It's an amazing guide, which you can grab if you go to connectingloveandmarriage.com/what's new. When you go there, you'll be able to see my offer there. So
okay, awesome. We'll make sure, folks, you can see it on the screen. Make sure you check out Arrettres Hollins' offer and get in touch, and maybe even want some coaching from her. So Arrettres, so happy to have you. Thank you so much for joining us, and maybe we'll have you back and do part B of this.
Wonderful. I'm here for it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. Well, folks, that's Arrettres Hollins, the wife coach, and what a powerful work she's doing to help women recover from infidelity. I'm so happy to have her on the show and looking forward to maybe having her back. Well, that's another edition of the Sizzling Hot Marriage Show, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, remember, you can have a sizzling hot marriage. God bless you. Bye-bye.